Mexico just remade The Office. And I thought the same thing that you're thinking. Please, no. Can't we just leave it alone? Don't we have enough reboots already?
This is the worst.
But they didn't just remake it. They turned Dunder Mifflin into a soap factory in Aguas Calientes, made the boss a Nepo baby, found a very convincing Mexican Jan who they call Juana, and somehow all of it works extremely well. Some of it better than the original. I get it, you're skeptical. I was too, but when I watched the trailer, I saw nothing but hype in the comments. Like, it's so cringe. It's perfect. I had no expectations, but they surpassed them. What kind of awkward, weird comedy is this? I love it. Give me 1,000,000 episodes. So I saw all of this and I went in thinking, okay, either this is secretly great or all of Mexico has collectively lost its mind. And my biggest fear is that it would just be like a cheap shot-for-shot remake. Same old jokes, just translated into Spanish. But actually, they changed way more than I expected. First off, no paper company. This time it's Jabones Olimpo, a family-owned soap factory in Aguas Calientes, which I guess is supposed to be the Mexican version of Scranton. I don't know. I don't know how comparable they are, because I've at least heard of Aguas Calientes, so maybe it's not as random as Scranton, but well, what do you guys think? Is Aguas Calientes really the Scranton of Mexico? But the biggest change here has got to be the boss. So he didn't work his way up. He wasn't some great soap salesman. He's there because his family owns the company. And it turns out this is just one of their very smart, very deliberate changes they made in order to resonate more with their target audience. Big disclaimer here, I am no expert in Latin American work culture, but from what I've heard, nepotismo is like a really big thing in Mexico. Like even more so than in the US. And in a country with so many family-run businesses, I guess that makes sense that for them, the incompetent rich kid running the company isn't a wacky sitcom character. Honestly, it's just another Monday, or rather, lunes. So that is Miguel Escot. No, I'm just kidding. His name is actually Jero or Jerónimo. But wait, before we get into all the characters, and we definitely need to talk about the characters and their counterparts, let me just give you a quick version of episode 1. The episode opens very much like every other version of The Office. Documentary crew, a normal looking office, and a cold open where the boss comes in and does something incredibly cringy and uncomfortable. But in this case, instead of doing parkour, he tries to hype up the office with a live band playing música sinaloense, does a grito norteño, and then drops an employee when he tries to dance with her.
Se le bajó la azúcar.
Okay, so right off the bat, I already love this because you're already getting that signature office awkward humor, but also with a very Mexican twist. But it's easy to follow along. The structure is familiar, the dynamics are clear, so you always know what's going on, even without having perfect Spanish. For example, the main conflict is classic Office. The branch might be shutting down. Everyone's jobs are on the line. And in charge of handling that, Jerónimo Ponce III, who, in my opinion, makes a really good Michael Scott counterpart. Without copying Steve Carell, he captures a lot of the essence of the character, and occasionally says some politically incorrect and inappropriate stuff. So, Jero is Michael, Sophie, Pam, Memo is Jim, definitely. And those two have the exact same flirty dynamic, the will they, won't they. I haven't yet seen Memo give like a Jim look straight to the camera, but I'm sure that'll be coming. And don't worry, the gang's all here. Aniv is very Dwight. Same intensity, same bootlicking energy. And then you've got like little things that make it even easier to keep track of. This universe's Angela is Angeles, and their version of Jan is Juana. And I'm super glad that they decided to introduce her right off the bat, because the unraveling of Jan's character in the original makes for some of the most classic Office moments. So yeah, all the essential Office DNA is there. the Michael Dwight chaos duo, Jim and Pam's slow burn, the awkward meetings in the sala de juntas, bad leadership, the secondhand embarrassment. But again, the setting and cultural details keep it really interesting. Like, you're constantly watching and thinking, okay, how are they gonna do this moment in this universe? And honestly, it's funny. Like, actually funny. Like, it stands on its own. All right, let's get into my favorite moment from this episode because it made me laugh and I learned something at the same time. So Memo, Jim, is on a sales call with a client who he clearly has a great relationship with. Super casual, super natural, exactly the type of sales that Jim would do. And then at the end of the call, he goes, "Te lo lavas, con Olimpo."
Problema. Te la lavas, eh? Con Olimpo.
And then Aniv hears this, and in full Dwight fashion, he tries to copy it word for word. So now he's on a call with a client that he clearly does not have that kind of close relationship with. Very formal, very stiff, and then he forces it in.
Se la lava con Olimpo que le trae una pestosota.
The reaction was very different. And I had never heard that before, te lo lavas. Like, it went right over my head. So I look it up, and apparently it is a very, very informal way to say goodbye to someone. But like, you've got to really know the person because the literal meaning is, pretty weird. So it's really cool because with that joke, I learned a new phrase that I had never heard before. And because it was a funny moment, like, I'm not going to forget that one. Te lo lavas, güey. Now, do I think that this is hands down better than the US Office? I don't know. I mean, honestly, some of the later seasons were pretty bad. So like I said, this is already, in my opinion, better than some seasons of the original. And I apologize to the UK. By original, I mean the US version, because it's already way better than the UK version. But look, one thing is for sure, this is definitely not just some lazy remake. The similarities make it easy to follow, and the differences keep you hooked. Now, if this is sounding really good to you, I've got some good news and some bad news. Bad news, it's not available in the US. In fact, I hadn't even finished episode 1 all the way through when they caught on to my VPN usage and I got kicked off the streaming platform. But the good news, there are already a ton of great shows that you can watch right now on Lingopie, where you've got all the tools to help you binge your way to fluency. But either way, that's La Oficina. And look, as soon as I can figure out a way to get back in there, legally, of course, I am 100% finishing the season. Mexico, welcome to the Office Adaptation Club. You've got yourselves a winner. What about you guys? Have you seen La Oficina? And remember to subscribe to Lingopie if you love international TV and movies or you're a language nerd. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace.